in life, as everybody knows, in life, things are going to happen. Some are going to be good, some are not going to be good. It's how you handle it that matters.
That's right.
And that's really important. And, if music was a thing that helped me keep my head balanced about things, then, great, good for me, and anybody else out there, you know, there's all kinds of therapy. I see music as a therapy in dark times and feel good in the good times.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carl Buccellato, and welcome to Along the Way Life's Journey. On this show, I tell you all the time, nobody tells their story like they do. The individual does. Today, we have a man with us. I know this man very well. John Denver used to sing a song and used to say, some days are diamonds, some days are coal. Some of us go through life and some days are diamonds, real diamonds. They're wonderful. And some days they're coal and they're difficult. But it all depends on the individual. How do you get through these days of coal? How do you make everything into a diamond? And this man is a diamond. This man has many facets to him, and I know you're going to love his story. Please welcome Richard, my friend Rick Langnas. Rick, welcome to the show.
Carl, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. This is, I'm very excited to be here.
A real pleasure to have you on the show.
You have a great podcast, great content, and I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you first a little bit about Rick, and then Rick is going to tell you about himself. Rick is he's an entrepreneur. He's a self-made man. He's the founder and CEO of a magnificent company, or recently sold it, I believe, Medco, which was a giant company. And he'll tell you a little bit about how he built that. But he's also been a battler all his life. Like me, he was a boxer. Only he didn't quit when he was younger. He still works out, and that's why he looks so wonderful today. He also is a magnificent musician. He's a drummer, has his own band, does wonderful gigs. And we'll talk about that a little bit also. But like every other man, Rick has his issues that he has dealt with in life. And like every other man, he's come to a place on how to deal with things. One of the things I know about him is perseverance. This man will never, never quit. Never. And so I am so happy to say, my friend Rick, I'm going to turn it over a minute. Rick, I want you to just talk a little bit. Who was little Ricky when you were growing up? Just talk a little bit.
Yeah, little Ricky. Well, I'm from Philadelphia in the greater Philadelphia area. And my mother was very young when she had me, 16 years old. And so it was tough. It was difficult. And I spent a lot of time living with my mother on and off. And then I lived with extended family and so forth. So, I was South Philadelphia. I was living in Northeast Philadelphia, greater Northeast Philadelphia, and then South Jersey. And, I was in 13 schools in 12 years of public education. So I got around a little bit, but it was great. It was, I didn't know any difference. I was just a kid having fun. And just, I didn't have any problem meeting friends and so forth. And just, playing baseball, playing football, hockey, whatever, and trying to play music and so forth. And so just being a kid. I enjoyed that part of my life, even though there were some dark times there. I didn't really see it that way at the time, but, and then, gradually it was my grandparents who I was very close to that my grandfather got ill and they retired and moved to Florida. And I started living down to Florida a little bit, spending some time with them and so forth. And to this day, I get back to Philly, and it's Philly and Florida and also California, and with my wife and so forth. She's from Los Angeles. So anyway.
So you made your way in life. You were a young man. You got through school. Mm-hmm. I know that going through 12 schools or 13 schools in 12 years, to me, what that means, every time I changed school, I had to prove my salts,
You know what it's like in the city.
Picked on the biggest guy in the class.
You know what it's like in the city life. Absolutely.
You have to make your way through.
Yep. You had to. Yep.
And that kind of toughens us up a little bit, but underneath, we're still human beings who feel things, and we share with other people. And sometimes we block it out because in order to put on an austere front so we don't get attacked
Absolutely.
too many times, you know. So you lived through all of that, and you
Hmm.
became a self-confident person, I'm sure, because you don't come through that without feeling confident about yourself.
Yeah.
And then you began working, and as you were working, something you saw resonated with you that said, "There's a business here. There's
Yeah.
something more than I'm doing. There's a business here."
Yeah.
Talk to us about it. How did you build that
Well,
magnificent business?
well, I spent a good portion of my see, at one time I was aspiring to go to law school and so forth and become a lawyer, but everybody around me said, Rick, you're a very good, caring, like salesman, and you're very good at it. And in my mind, I did all kinds of jobs to get through, and there are various sales jobs that I took on along the way, and I really enjoyed it. And it's fun when you can provide a product to a person where they're going to enjoy it or benefit from it. And so I thought to myself, well, maybe I should really do that. And I felt like at the time I felt like the best sales job I could have is in the pharmaceutical or medical pharmaceutical industry. And so one thing led to another, and I ended up in an entry level sales job with big pharma, and and I did that for 19 years. And during my course with them, I noticed that there was a very underserved market as I got into more and more into the job and so forth, and learned more and so forth. And it was kind of like nobody in the industry wanted it, but yet it was growing and there was a need for it. So I was in my 40s, and I said, well, if you're ever going to do it, you got to do it now, because you can't wait till you're in your 50s or
Right.
something. So I remember when I announced to my family that I'm going to leave my very comfortable national position with a big pharma, right? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you
So
crazy?
so I jumped off and I took a chance, and a lot of prayers, a lot of faith, and a lot of hard work and scratching the surface. Here I am 20 years later, and we were able to do a lot of good things. And finally, I sold the company to a big pharma company, and now I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. So the company was called United
United
Medco.
United
Yeah.
Medco Incorporated. Yep. And
And
I
I'm sure
started.
you employed plenty of people
I did at one.
and
I think at
groomed
the height
them
of
and
it.
trained them. And
Yeah, we were located in Coral Springs in Florida, and at the height of it, we had 252 employees, and I I had a great crew. I really did. I mean, you don't become successful because of you. Yeah, you guide the ship, but if the people around you don't
absolutely.
believe in your vision and aren't excited to come in and execute every day, then it's tough. It's a challenge.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I know the pressure of having to sign the front of 250 paychecks every week when things, life is cyclical and so is business. So I know what that's like.
I was always like, I would always get them together and I said, look, guys, I had formal, profit sharing programs set up. I paid 100% of the health insurance for them. Um, I tried to do everything I could to, you know, um, I wanted them to have good lives too. You know what I mean? Because I felt like if the company's successful, we should all be successful. And I shared a lot with them. Um, and I'm very proud of that, to this day,
It should
and
be.
and I'm still in touch with a lot of my former employees and how their families are doing and so forth. And that's
Those are
real.
bonds we make on the way up with
Yep.
people who realize they're struggling to be part of a team that has a goal at the end of the time. And when you make those bonds, they never fail. They stay forever.
And it's important that you always remember folks going up, and just because you keep going up, and maybe you don't ever forget those people, because
No,
at the end of the day, I mean, that's what separated my company from the big guys, because my competitors were much, much bigger than me. And I used to say to my employees, I said, look, guys, we can't outbig the big guys, but we can outservice them.
that's
And,
right.
there's still, with all the technology there is and so forth, it's still a human being getting a product to hopefully help them with their ailments. And, we took a lot of pride in that. I try to keep it as human as possible.
Yeah. I said something on a recent show. Somebody was asking me about how to start a business. I'm so far out of it, so many years from starting. But I said to the individual, I started business. I was in business 65 years. And when I started business, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was none of that. People did business with people they know, like, and trust. And the
Right.
same is true today. And what you just said exemplifies that. You give service
100%.
to people, they like you, they trust you, they call you again. That's how
I,
you do business.
I mean, it was important to me and to us, to my organization, that, when they picked up the phone, we wanted to be a one-stop shop. And whether they picked up the phone or clicked it on their computer, they knew that they were in good hands. And that was the most important thing. The integrity and the service level was by far. I never led with dollars, and I know, look, we got to pay the bills. I mean, I'm not going to pretend, but but I never led with, if I lost it on this product, they'd make it up to me on that product. Something like I just led with service and integrity, and the success would come. Maybe I was naive, but it worked out.
You couldn't have been naive. Look where you are. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
something in the outer space was saying, "This is
You
a
learn,
good boy. He's doing
you
right."
learn, you learn from mistakes, and you keep moving forward, right?
That's right.
So,
Absolutely
you
right. So, I said in the beginning of the introduction that in addition to being the founder and CEO of a giant company, which you did very well with, and obviously you're a real mensch because you think about people when you're connected with
thank you.
not only your staff, but with your customers. But you've also been a musician all your life,
Yeah.
which is really, having watched you play, that's a real love of yours. I can tell, man. You really
Yeah,
love
it's a lot of joy. It's good for my soul. It's good for anybody's soul. Live music in general is great for everybody, no matter where they're at in their life. Music can take you to all kinds of places and can do all kinds of things to you emotionally and
it.
and
Yeah.
uh, and, and physically. I just think I when I was growing up, we didn't really have TVs. We had radios, transistor radios, and just listen to music. And in Philly, when I was coming up, there was a thing called the Philly sound, and it was that heavy bottom music, with the drums and the bass, the rhythm section, and I just gravitated towards that. I was 5, 6 years old, and it just never left me, thankfully. And
You're
of course,
so
back
good
then
at
my hair was a lot longer, and things were a little different, you know, but but
you're really so good at it.
thank you very much. Well, I keep working at it every day. I want to get to the point where I'm good. I just got to keep working at it, but I enjoy every minute of it. I enjoy every minute of
And
it.
you have your own
The
band, right? What they call
band,
what,
yeah,
the Crush Band?
the Crush Party Band, Crush with a
Yeah.
K, and myself and my guitar player Skip Turner, we put it together in 1998.
Oh,
We played our first gig in 1998, and we've had it together since, and we're going strong. In fact, we're working tonight. After this interview, I'm heading up to the amphitheater up in Palm Beach. We got a gig tonight. But
okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said in the beginning of this program, people are like gemstones. They have many facets, various sides. Now that you've seen, this is the young man growing up. He had to make amends by going from one school after the next, and he learned how to survive through that. He built an enormous business, had affinity for people, so he had great success from that. And he's been a musician. And music has been a part of his life even while he was building this big business. He had time to be involved with, which I imagine, you said a moment ago, it's good for the soul. I'm sure that we're all the same. We all have our dark days. And during those dark days, I'm sure there's times you get on those skins and you beat the hell out of them and it works everything out of you, right?
exactly. As in life, as everybody knows, in life things are going to happen. Some are going to be good, some are not going to be good. It's how you handle it that matters.
That's right.
And and that's really important. And if music was a thing that helped me keep my head balanced about things, then great, good for me. And anybody else out there, you know, there's all kinds of therapy. I see music as a therapy in dark times, and feel good in the good times.
He also has another therapy that he's not really talking about right now, but I know he has it. It's called a heavy bag and a light bag because
Yeah,
you still work out on the bags, don't
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a very good trainer, Dorian Marasola. He's really a sharp guy, has a college degree in not only the science of physical training, but physiology and so forth. And he's really you can tell when I'm having a strong day. You can tell when I'm not having a strong day, and we modify. But we go at it. We box, and I still keep up with that. That workout is really good, and yeah, I'm a lot slower. I can't play. I'm a lot older. It was different when I was back in you know back when I was younger. But
Sure.
anyway, but yeah, I enjoy it. We change it up. We change it up during the week. What we do usually, we box on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But it's just to keep up the cardio and the best I
Yeah.
can, keep up the physicalness. Yeah.
So you use it for physical fitness. You use it to overcome, some issues that you're dealing with, and
Yep.
um, you got to keep. The last time you and I sat and we had coffee together, we kind
Yep.
of both said the same thing at the same time. You can't quit. You have to
Right.
have perseverance. You have to keep driving. Like Winston Churchill says, never, never, never quit. Because when you quit, it's all over. They roll over you with a wheelbarrow.
You just gotta, you can't, you know, you don't ever let obstacles, you know, uh, thwart you from your goals. You just say, okay, think of your options. Which way do I need to go here to get to there? Every day, you want to work at doing something positive that advance your strategies, that advance your goals, and so forth. Small steps are okay, man. Small steps. You don't have
Absolutely.
to get the big step. You don't have to get the big one right
Absolutely.
away. The small
Absolutely.
steps are good.
Yeah.
So and
It's absolutely true. They didn't build those giant pyramids all at one time. They did it a stone at
yeah,
a time.
exactly.
So you gotta
Yeah,
you gotta
right.
keep going. So
And
I know you're married to a lovely lady, Stephanie, and you've got a
I
couple
am.
of
I'm very fortunate. Yeah.
lovely
I'm very.
children, and
Yep.
and
Yep.
you're a blessed man.
Oh yeah, I truly am. I truly am. And
Yeah.
between both of us, we have 5 daughters, 3 on my side, 2 on her side, and it was just wonderful. It was my one of my daughters was the one who introduced us, and so she gets anything she wants for the rest of her life.
Of course.
But I said, have whatever you want.
Yeah. He introduced you to she introduced you to a gem, so you gotta
Exactly.
take
I said,
care
hey,
of.
whatever you want.
Okay, so I also know that you have some very good friends, and
Yes,
you have
absolutely.
you have time, quiet time, which is very rare in this day and age. But I think men need it. Have quiet time with other men to talk and share your emotions and your feelings on things, because sometimes, folks, no matter how old we are, no matter how tough we are, there are things that weigh us down heavily, and we just need a place to talk them out. And men find it difficult to really purge some of these things with their wives. So it's like we don't want to burden them with it. Yet
Yeah.
when we go to a close friend, we will.
Yeah,
So
no, you're right, and the thing is that when you look at it, what do we all want? The same thing. There's some basic things that we all want. We want a good life. We want to be healthy. We want to have a great family. We want our family to do well. We want our kids to be healthy and thrive and be successful and just live a happy life. We want to be able to provide for our families and ourselves. We want to be able to, to do the things. Everybody there's these singular threads that connect everybody, and this is one of the important ones. You know, I mean, you think about it, Carl. You stop and say to somebody, "Well, tell me about your grandchildren, or tell me about your children." Instantly, a smile comes on a face, and they
sure.
love to talk about it. Okay, can't tell you how many times I said, "Well, now that you brought up grandchildren, let me show you a few pictures. Let me tell you about my boy, my two grandsons." So, that's kind of nice that we all share that common bond. So to your point, when we sit down with our buddies or whatever, say, well, so what's going on, well, did you see your grandsons lately? Yeah, well, not as much as I want, you know what I mean? So, but that's the fun part of being human in the human experience, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter how technology takes us over and AI and everything, I mean, I still believe in human contact. Very important.
Well, we need it. I know for myself, I need it because as strong as I think I am, and as strong as the image I project, there are times that I feel really beaten by an issue. I feel down by it,
Sure, sure.
and I have to have somebody to let me vent. Just to
Yeah,
hear
of
it.
course. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a normal human being feeling and function, and you're absolutely right.
We have a mutual friend, folks. That
Yes, we do.
poor guy. We must beat up on him terrible because we see him on different days of the week, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He takes it.
He's special, Carl. He's special.
He really is special. He really
Yeah.
is. So, are there any particular issues you're going through that you'd like to tell people about how you can overcome these things and maybe give them a little leg up on how to be strong?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, Carl. I think that, like I said earlier, no matter what life throws at you, I think it's important that you sometimes step back and evaluate what you're looking at and just say, okay, I need to get there. This is here. Let me figure out my options here to get to where I need to get to. I had a 20-year run with my company. I had a lot of fun. It was very enjoyable, and I'm feel very, very fortunate. And I sold the company. Then I found out that I had cancer, and I'm presently battling stage 4 RCC4 renal cancer. And that was quite a shot to my gut, and to my family, because I thought, okay, I sold the company. Now we're gonna, because when you're running a company, you're very tied to it, and the daily ins and outs. So when I was diagnosed, it was quite a shock, and I've had it now I'm 2 years into my cancer, and I realized stage 4 is, pretty serious. But then again, I said to the doctors, I said, look, I understand, I have a civilian's understanding of stage 4 cancer. I'm not a doctor. So let's talk about what we can do. I don't want to talk about what, and my doctor, the lead oncologist, his face was like lit up, and he said, okay, this is what we can do. And like, when it came time, versus the chemotherapy, when it came time for radiation therapy, the radiation oncologist explained to me that, there's 3 different ways we can approach this. And I literally just said, you know what? Put me on a table, give me the strongest stuff short of killing me, and that gave her a lot of room to work with, as far as, and because I had the tumors went from my kidney up into my lungs, and then there was a couple tumors wrapped around my lower aorta, and the thoracic surgeon there determined that they were inoperable, so we had to do something, So we took a chance with the radiation and into the lungs and into that area, and so out of that, for the rest of my life, I have what's called radiation pneumonitis, which I deal with. And you deal with all of it. There's side effects. It's miserable. I wouldn't want to wish it on anybody. But again, I go back to my basics. I might as well, I go back to that mindset of the kid in Philly, who had to adjust to another situation. And you just adjust, and you just say, okay, I'm going to try my best to make sure that we manage it and it doesn't manage me. In other words, still live your life, do what you got to do. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. There's days today I feel great. Tomorrow I might have to stay in bed all day. But, you take it, you keep it in perspective. what you don't do is you don't go home from the doctor's office, put on your pajamas, and never leave your home again. You have to stay strong. You have to stay
That's
true
right.
to yourself. And this is just my opinion, okay? Because everybody's going to do what works for them. And I'm just sharing my little my little piece of, which is very small, but it's very large for me in my world and with my family. And the other thing is that I knew that if I broke down or if I showed signs of true fear, that would affect my family.
Yeah.
And so I was very determined, if I show strength, they're going to feed off of it. And that's where I'm at right now as we're speaking.
That's a wonderful gift to people. Wonderful gift.
Well, I got a
Uh,
lot of support, a lot of love around me, a lot of support. Especially, friends like you and our dear friend Eddie and so forth. And it's wonderful. You really find out who your friends and acquaintances are, and everybody feels good in the feel good. But when it's
yeah.
not the feel good
Yeah.
time, you find out who your
Yeah.
friends and acquaintances are.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
they carry the barrel with you. It's one thing
right.
to go around when it's easy dancing time.
That's it.
Well, they carry the heavy barrel with you. That's
You
the
got it.
difference.
So, just like anything, look, Carl, just like anything, if I end up going down, I'm going down swinging, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to walk into the pit, you know?
I keep saying the same thing because it's apparent to me that life is filled with diamonds and coal. And when we look at those things and we realize some of it is considered precious and the others dirty, or maybe an instrument for heat or something, but they're the same thing. They're both carbon. They're both the same thing. Diamonds are the result of a piece of coal that God has put under pressure for millions of years, and it created a gem out of it. So you're going through some pressure right now, but you're a gem, brother. There's no doubt about it. You are a
Thank
gem.
you.
From the
Thank you.
first day I met you, I knew you were a special guy, a very special person.
Likewise, Carl. Likewise, and
You
I
know,
and I,
and-
I really appreciate the kind words. But anybody that's listening out there that might be fighting the fight here, you just keep moving forward, man. Don't don't let it beat you up. I mean, I know that, especially if you're taking chemo, or whatever therapy you're taking, it's tough. I know it's tough, but so are you. And that's what I would tell yourself. You know, I mean, if you have to, put on the Rocky soundtrack.
yeah. My 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 kid brother, I laughingly call him my kid brother. He's 82 years old. He's going through chemo again for the second time. And he is an amazing man, an amazing man. He's having a really difficult time of it, but he never stops saying, I'm a soldier of God. I am not going to give up. I am not going to quit. And he goes into these treatment centers on the West Coast, and he has these wooden crosses he has made out of the olive wood, like the cross of Christ, And he goes around and he gives them out to people, and they say, "Are you part of the staff here?" He says, "No, I'm just here for my chemo." And he goes around and he gives it to people, and then they give him the chemo. We go, somebody gets sick. But he does it over and over again, and he knows you
Yeah.
can't quit.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as quitting.
No, because I mean, look, Carl, there's things we can control in this life, and there's things we can't. The things we can control, we have a responsibility to control them, okay, and make sure
That's
we're in
right.
command and control. The stuff we can't control, we can't allow that to trump the or supersede the things we can control. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
That's right.
so and you learn, and it's funny. There's a thing for me. I learned. I think I've been in that 2 years. I still think I'm learning how to be a cancer patient, because you learn your body a little bit more. You learn your reactions to different things. I have more offset medication than I do chemo drugs. You know what I mean? But it's just the way it is. So, but I would tell anybody out there that's listening, and if you have a loved one or a friend or yourself with cancer, don't ever give up. It's not. There's so much going on with cancer research, and there's so much good stuff, and getting some really good outcomes. And look, please don't misunderstand me. It's a horrible disease. it can, obviously we know people that died prematurely from cancer, and I don't know where I'm gonna go, but like I said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be moving forward to the end. You know what I mean? And, and I hope that's not for another 100 years. We'll see. But
Me
anyway,
too. Me too.
but anyway, in listening and reach for whatever feels good. If it's music, listen to it. If it's music, go to concerts, go to whatever. If it's whatever it is, wherever you find your joy. I mean, I would say get up every day and make that's your schedule for the day. Whatever's going to bring you joy and make you feel good. And
So I hear you saying, get out of yourself.
hey, you got it, man. You
Get
got
out
it.
of yourself and live life.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
if you could touch somebody else's life with your story or any other, get out of yourself.
Yep, you got it. That's it. I think that's really important.
You're an amazing guy.
So are you, Carl. And I don't know how amazing I am, but I appreciate the compliment. But
no, you are. You're an amazing guy. I'm a very discerning person. I don't say that easily. You're an amazing guy.
Hey, man, I'm just a very, very lucky guy. I really, from humble beginnings, I lived the American dream. I'm very grateful for that opportunity, and I'm just very grateful. And I've been thrown a curveball, but hey, man, you got to get back in the batter's box. You can't lay down.
For the first time in this interview, I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think you're a lucky guy. I think you're blessed. There's a big difference between luck and being blessed. And I think you're blessed.
Okay.
I
like that.
I really do. I think God is looking over you. I know I'm praying for you every day. You're on my prayer list, but I think you're blessed.
Thank you. I think you're right.
If you want to reach Rick, if you got a question or a comment that you just want to wish him well, on the bottom of this program in the show notes is going to be all the places where you can contact them. Send him a note. Tell him what's going on in your life. He'll hear. Talk to him. It's an important thing to do. And do you have any closing things you want to say to anybody before we close down, Rick?
Just live a good life.
Amen.
Love those. Your friends, your family. Just live a good life.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard the story of a man who recognizing what life really is, and he's living it, and he's fighting for it, and he's telling you to do the same. Listen to that story. Tell your story, because no one can tell it like you can, and reach out to someone else. Reach out and touch somebody's life today. Make it different if you can, even if it's just by smiling, just a smile on your face. I found out a long time ago, when I wake up out of the worst of the nightmares of life, when I look in that mirror before I brush my teeth, if I smile, my whole day is getting better already. Already it's better. Live a life. Live it the right way. And do what I tell you every week. Get somebody you know today. Get them in a big bear hug. Tell them you love them. Tell them you love them. It may be the only time today they hear those words. And I know that God loves them as well. And he loves you, and he loves me, and he certainly loves Rick. There's no doubt about it. And he loves Stephanie, who's off the camera right now, smiling at him. He loves us all. Thank you, folks. Thanks for being part of the show. Rick, my friend, I love you. God bless you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, folks.